When you are finished, we will have about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A while we are still assuming the role you gave us and while you still have the roles that you assigned yourself. Afterwards, we will take a few minutes to do some feedback to you on how the presentation went and all of that good stuff. So with that said, Joe?
Yep, just want to introduce myself as a senior judge. Happy to be in front of you today. I serve as a board member on a number of corporations, as well as an advisor for leadership transformation. And so looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Joe. Do we have, let me see, David or Mike?
Good evening, Dave Morehouse here. I'm happy to say this is my 5th year as a judge. Must be behaving myself because I'm invited back. Anyway, I'm retired from the U.S. Treasury Department, experience in banking and also bank regulations. One reason why I take topics which are not related is so I can be educated on the films. And also I have advanced degrees in business administration and also international business. But more importantly, I'm more interested in learning about your presentation and what you have to offer tonight. Thank you.
Sustainable Squad, here it is. Your 25 minutes started now.
Thank you, esteemed judges. We are also equally elated to be here, and thank you for giving us the opportunity. So now we will present the slides. So greetings once again. So this is a attempt to solve the world's most challenging problem. So as we know, world is a beautiful place, and there are times when we look around us, there are things which may cause hindrance to the beautiful world. One such thing is the e-waste. For example, the physical waste of the digital world. So this is the complex problem the world is facing today. So we as a team of Sustainable Squad are trying to build a place which is future ready to tackle this e-waste. We all know the world has 7 wonders of the world, but here we are trying to change this and we make every place the wonder. And how we do it? So let us see it. Next slide. So now I would like to introduce my team. So myself, Xavier, Chief Execution Officer of this Sustainable Squad.
I am Bharat, Chief Technical Officer.
Hello, my name is Sarayu. I'm Chief Sustainability Officer.
Hello, I'm Nishit Rastogi. I'm the Chief Legal Officer.
Hello, I'm Vichin Kishmaria. I'm the Chief Ethics Counselor.
Thank you, team. Next slide. So this is how we are going to present our presentation. Basically, our presentation consists of 4 contents. Basically, we start with the background, information and the problem statement, and how we are going to solve this problem by giving solution. And we nevertheless consider all the 3 dimensions, that is sustainability, legal and ethical dimensions. And finally, we are presenting our conclusions and the future business potentials. Next slide. So when we analyze the information, so as I told you, the world has 7.2 billions of internet users. And equally, if we look around us, there are a lot of electronic gadgets which is available there. Suppose let us reflect here. If we surround with all the electronic devices, for example, each one of us have the computers and the mouses, then we have the earphones. But once at the end of the life, so how these electronic gadgets will be there? So this is creating a problem to the mother world. And in a way, this is creating an hindrance to the life of the people. Let us reflect here. when we have this electronic waste around us, and this can create a mental and health impact to any people. Suppose we have a pregnant lady or a children in the home, and suppose this electronic gadgets can send the radiation, and how this will impact the lives of these people. So if we think about this, so this is a critical and most challenging problem that the world is facing. Also, if we see the shares of this e-waste, the country which is the China, which is producing nearly 10,000 megatons of electronic e-waste. So this data looks so small, but how it is there, it is unconsciously present within us, and it is present inside our home. And if you see the type of e-waste, again, these consist of many things like small lamps, then small IT and telecom equipments, then we have screens and monitors. And this contributes to nearly 80% of the e-waste which presents there. And suppose we also stuck in a COVID pandemic for the before 2 years. So during that time also, we changed a lot of electronic gadgets and we ordered many equipments from online services. So finally, this again increases the load of e-waste on the earth. So with this motivation, we as a team were trying to solve this world most challenging problem. Next slide. Now, so who will solve this problem? Does anyone have the aspiration to solve this problem? Yes, there are companies and there are people who are visionary and they are willing to change the condition of this world. Yes, we are introducing our company. This is Tata Elxsi, one of the subsidiary company of Tata Sons. And this company have the vision to become the global design leader. And they wanted to solve this problem. Presently, they are the global design and technology services leader in the field of electronics, media, communications, automobile, and healthcare. With the values, integrity, responsibility, excellence, pioneering, and unity, so this Tata company wanted to see the world a better place for our future generation. If we see this company, it has global presence and it has a lot of ethical values. Tata Code of Conduct is the basic principle which is running behind the company. And this company has also established many policies which helps the workers to act on it. That is the Provident Fund policy. So this was first started by the Tata Group company in India. Next slide. So the sustainability aspirations, yes, the company wants to show the commitment towards all the natural resources. Let us say the water neutrality, the climate change. The company is committed to invest and committed to excel in all the sustainability aspects so that the world will become a better place for us and also the future generations. The carbon neutrality, the company wants to eliminate all the net zero goals, which is in alignment with the SDG goals of UN. Yes, we have all these good resources and capabilities, but wait a minute. Again, let us look around us. But how are we going to solve this? If we see the data, India is the third largest generator of e-waste in the world. Out of 3.2 million metric tons of e-waste, if we see around 78% remain untreated. And if we see this untreated e-waste, which is creating an hindrance to the people. For example, if a child is there and they are working in an untreated area, or the pregnant woman who in turn give birth to these children, so which is ultimately affecting the health of the future generation. So considering all this motivation, we are a team are excited to propose the solution for this world's most challenging problem. Next slide. Again, in order to continue with this, so if we consider this printed circuit boards, so which is present in almost all the electronic devices, and 1 ton of this printed circuit board, it contains many useful materials. For example, 800 grams of silver and 150 grams of gold, and we have 50 grams of palladium. And we know the extreme usage of these semiconductors. It is used in almost every segment. So this is a challenging problem and of course a serious problem. And we are going to propose a solution for this, the world's most challenging problem. Now I would like to Bharat to continue.
But why is this solution that will solve our problem? That was an interesting question in front of us. Dear board members, when we were brainstorming, we realized that establishing a distribution channel along with synergies among our subsidiaries and designing products that serves both functionally and environmentally friendly should be our goal. While still delivering high quality products to our customers and improving each day, we hope that our story inspires others to take action. In fact, why just others? Our other subsidiaries could also pitch in. And when we talk about establishing a distribution channel, we need to attack on sources and consider factors like market price, deposit location, and rock strength. But what do we actually mean by it? Market price tells us how much people are actually willing to pay for the metal, while deposit location and rock strength can help us understand the challenges that we may face when trying to extract the metal from the ground. Once we have a clear understanding of these factors, we can establish distribution channels that are designed to minimize the waste and reduce environmental impact. But why? We are committed to protecting the planet and inviting others to join us. I'm sure you'll love this idea. However, there is a common notion that new material is less costly than reuse of existing material. But before that, we need to take care that we have synergies among ourselves, among our subsidiaries. These are few to mention, wherein we can utilize their capabilities to our advantage. Working together, make things in a way that doesn't hurt environment and is good for everyone. It's like building a castle with your friends, but instead of bricks, we are using ideas to make this world a better place. Wonderfully demonstrated by our subsidiary Tata Business. But how do we actually reduce the cost? Some may perceive it as loss of control or autonomy due to increased collaboration and coordination with the other departments. But however, we should see that working together and being committed to a common goal or mission, team can create more efficient and effective workflow that benefits everyone in the long run. And this is where blockchain comes in handy. We all know what e-waste is, right? It's old phones, computers, and other electronic things that we throw away when we get the new ones. In fact, I got my new one an year back, but did I think that I could change it with the older ones instead of completely buying a new one from the scratch? Some people can use parts from the old things to make new ones, which is good for the environment. But we don't have to make many new things. We can reutilize what we have among us. But it can be hard to keep track of all different parts and where they come from. This is where blockchain can help. It is a special computer system that can keep track of all the parts and where they go. And best thing is it's transparent and we can assure social responsibility through it, wherein all our stakeholders, even the common people who are very interested in our products and the company, can look into it. And what can be measured can be felt and can drive a positive behavior among people. Now, I would like to call Saryu to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharat. So as my colleagues explained how Tata Elxsi can help in reusing and recycling e-waste collected from multiple sources, it is important to include certain sustainable practices which will help in reducing the e-waste generated. This can be done through implementing sustainable procurement and sustainable packaging. Organizations should develop policies and procedures that prioritize sustainability criteria in procurement decisions. Some ways to implement sustainable packaging are by reusing the packaging, by using recycled or biodegradable materials, using compostable materials, and by reducing the packaging size. This can be achieved through innovative packaging designs that are both compact and protective. Next slide. Thankfully, today more consumers and corporates are becoming aware of sustainability and its significance. They are ready to incorporate sustainable practices and buy responsibly, which makes it easier for Tata Elxsi to collaborate with their stakeholders. To implement these ideas, Nishit will take you through the legal aspects.
Thank you, Sarayu. Till now, we have discussed about the problem statement and can be the probable solutions. But while working on this on the distribution channel and the transaction channel, we need to make sure that we are following all the rules and regulations defined by the authority. There have been instances in the past where the Central Pollution Control Board, the CPCB, has fined companies for not complying with the legal compliances, and which later on had a bad impact on their brand images. For example, in 2019, we have a company which was fined from the CPCB for failing to comply the e-waste management rules. They inspected their premises and found that they were not maintaining proper records for the e-waste management, and they were dealing with the vendors which were not legally authorized with the State Pollution Control Board. And later on, they got fined by the legal authorities. So we can say from this incident that it is very important for us to know what are the legalities and what rules and regulations we need to follow. So some of the rules and regulations that we should follow while working with the e-waste is that the producers need to maintain a record of their e-waste and how they are collecting it, recycling, or what is the distribution channel. They need to maintain the whole record with that, and they need to submit it to the SPCB, that is the State Pollution Control Board, and the CPCB, which is the Central Pollution Control Board. And also there is a restriction on the rules for importing the e-waste in India for recycling. So we cannot import any e-waste, and we can only deal with the authorized dealers or the vendors when we are working on the transport or storage or handling of or disposable of e-waste. So in conclusion, I can say that in India, the government is working on the legal framework for the e-waste management to promote the circular economy and approach to e-waste management. But at the same time, we need to make sure that all the compliance and the rules which are mandatory are being followed. When we are saying that all the rules, regulations, and compliances need to be followed, we have made a balanced scorecard that these are the metrics which the company can rate themselves and track a record that they are following all the mandatory compliances or the records. For example, if we take environmental protection, so we can track how much air pollution we are doing, and how much cubic water is being consumed when we are doing this process of recycling of the e-waste. So some of these limits are defined by the Air Act of 1981 or the Pollution Act or the Water Act, and all these acts define the limits that what amount of pollution or the water we can use. Another can be the employee health and safety, which is governed by the OSHW code of 2020, where the code deals with the employee health and safety in workplaces, and also to all establishments that include the generation and handling of the e-waste. So in short, when we are working with e-waste, we need to follow all these codes defined by the CPCB and other legal authorities. Now for the ethics part, Vijay will continue from here.
Thank you, Nishant. Tata is well known for its ethical approach to all its businesses. In this environment of e-waste, I'm sure Tata can pull this off as well. There are several stakeholders when it comes to this e-waste problems. There is investor side, the money side, the customer side, the organization. but overall, there's environment side as well. The things such as the end-to-end impact of a product is something which concerns the environment deeply. A transparent approach to the treatment of a e-waste can help with that. Issue of ethical procurement, where the suppliers getting their supplies from. That matters a lot when it comes to things like e-waste. The honesty and integrity goes hand to hand. Being clear in what they do and being committed to their cause will help them establish their integrity to all the stakeholders. And finally, equity, which refers to fairness in this case, matters because it's not only that the impact should be same by all. The penalty should be proportional to the benefit. One of the problems which rise when it comes to electronics especially is the difference between the treatment required in a developing country and a developed one. In a developing country, most of these products are made and they have to take care through most of the treatment of this e-waste while these products are sold in developing one. So that's why the equity portion matters. There are several SDG goals this ethical responsibility refers to. First one is related to the distribution channel of eliminating sources. These things matter what, as I said, in the looking up where the suppliers get the supplies from. Is it ethical or not? What are the workers' conditions there? How does it impact the environment there? Those things matter. Next is regarding the synergy for refurbished products. In the cell phone market, the refurbished products has actually been growing. It's currently weighted at a more than 50 billion industry, and with a pretty decent growth rate of over 10%. But is it the same for all the electronics? This is something which e-waste management has to ensure. Finally, the designing of the products. The products, like Shakti was mentioning, the pregnant lady, it's not just a cell phone is harmful when it becomes in waste. It's also harmful, most of them at least, harmful with the radiations. The degree, although debatable, is there. Things like that has to be taken care in their products and designing from the start itself. For the final solution, I would like to call Sakti.
Thank you, Jenkins. So we have seen the problem statement, the solution part, and also the ethical and legal dimensions of this problem. Even if we see the research which is conducted by Mr. Annamalai and Raghunath et al., so the e-waste is estimated to grow to 111 million tons globally by the year 2050. And definitely the emerging economies are going to attract multinational conglomerates for setting up their plans to satisfy the user needs. So the company has to be vigilantly solve this e-waste management by collecting and by distributing and by recycling all the things by the formal sector. And finally, this opens up a business opportunity for most of the organization. And definitely the first mover advantage will be the fantastic one, and the company can deploy this strategy and they can use this as an opportunity and to proceed. So with this motivation, we can make all the recycle of the e-waste. Let us reflect here again. If we have a dream of e-waste and everything will be converted when you are procuring anything or when you are buying anything, you can have the aim of, yes, so this e-waste will be going to be recycled in the future, so I will not be impacted. With this condition comes, so our world will definitely become a sustainable one for the future generation. And in this way, we can make the world a wonder place for our future generations. So once again, Thank you for the great opportunity. We as a team are delighted, and thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and kudos for finishing on time. Again, thank you for this presentation, and if we could start, I know we're going to have quite a few questions. If we could start Sustainable Squad by telling us how Tata is a big company, we are a big company. How does this initiative fit within our other sustainable and environmental initiative company-wide? Should I repeat the question?
Yes.
Shakti, you can take over.
Yeah. Ma'am, can you repeat the question once?
Yes. So we are a big company. So obviously we must have sustainable efforts to comply with many of the sustainable development goals. If you could expand a little bit about how does this initiative work within or fits within the company's overall sustainable goals?
Okay. Yes, ma'am. We got it. So when the company comes into the play for taking such a big initiative, so definitely there should be a drive. So if we see the mission and vision of this group company, Tata Group company, so they are working for the community. Even the company has 66% share towards the trust, Tata Trust. And if we see this vision and mission, the company is exactly working for its shareholders and stakeholders. And in this way, the mission and vision is aligned to this great initiative, which is solving the world's most challenging problem. So this is the first part I would like to insist. And the second one is, if we see the company's track recording and the mission statement of Tata Elxsi, so they want to be a technology and global design leader for all the segments and service provider for all the segments, starting from automobiles, then healthcare industries, and etc. So in this way, the company can add value to the shareholders and the customers again by taking these initiatives, and they can, as we know, this is a large enterprise, and they can have this kind of investments, and shareholders have belief in that. And in a way, the company can proceed and they can do all kinds of initiatives to satisfy this target. Also, we see the company has enormous sustainability aspirations, and this aspiration again take the company in a different level, and they can able to solve this. And also we have proposed one more solution, the commitment to synergy. Since we know Tata as a group holding company, they have nearly 100 plus holding companies in the subsidiary companies, and ultimately this will come into play. They can utilize the other people competitive advantage, and they can take the synergic effort or the symbiotic relationship from other people, and they can better suited, and they are the best people for solving this problem. So in this way, the group company can create a meaningful value to the customers and to the world as a whole.
Thank you. Before we go to the other judges for their questions, is it possible to remove the presentation screen so we could see you, we could see everybody? Perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Joe?
Yep. Okay, wonderful. I wanted to just thank you for tackling this difficult, challenging issue. When you showed the picture of all that e-waste, I just had a visible reaction, right? This is horrible, right? And this has gone on all over the world, right? It's just multiplying and piling up everywhere, and sort of reminds me of landfills. It just was just a wonderful thought that someone is thinking about this. And so I wanted to acknowledge that. So building a place future ready to tackle e-waste. And so the question I have around this proposal is you cited a number of the sustainable development goals, and I really want to sort of prioritize which ones are the most important based on your presentation. I think you gave us 4 of them, right? You gave us number 3, good health and well-being. I think you gave us number 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And then you gave another one, responsible consumption and production. And then 17, I think, partnership and goals. And so can you talk through those and then tell us as a board, what is the most important one or 2? Because we have to think about our decision around these sustainable goals and what we can do. We can't do it all, but what can we do that's going to be meaningful? It'll be helpful for me and for us to think about.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Maybe I'll take up this question, and Bharat, if you want, you can add it also. So as we have seen, so there are 4 goals we have mentioned here. So the first one, I would like to talk about the good well-being. If we see this goal enormously, the mortality rate comes into the play. So when we see the sub dimensions of this goal, so definitely the death rate, the mortality rate, this becomes a challenging one, because presently the world is solving this problem, but the challenge is these e-waste are in an informal sector, especially in the emerging economies. And obviously, when we are not informalizing this, and there are regulatory bodies, of course, the stringency depends upon the country's conditions. And when we discuss among ourselves this problem, we had gone through all the sub dimensions of the sustainability development goals, and we came to know that this has been researched in a lot of researches. Even one research we have been cited, Mr. Annamalai and Raghunath et al. So they have analyzed this e-waste and how this could impact the health of the people who are working in the informal sector of the e-waste management. So definitely this was one sub dimension of good and health, well-being. And the second part is the responsible consumption and the utility. So here again, the responsible consumption way, again, the e-waste is lying around us. And if we see the sub dimensions, how the company can come together and show their spending for creating a residual value from this valuable e-waste. So this was one of the sub dimension, like the percentage of the company infrastructure, how it is spent on the treatment of especially this e-waste for sustainability aspirations. So this was the another dimension. And for the other part, the innovation, the industry and infrastructure sub goal. So again, we have seen there are companies which are taking multiple process innovations and product innovations. Finally, they're using this 3D printing technology to create a value from the part, especially this e-waste. For example, the e-waste contains multiples of other parts which can be also recycled. Even one of our solution is the design for environment. So through this way, again, the company can create a value with this existing product, and they can recycle this product, and finally this will again be recycled and the life of the product can be increased. So in a way, the circular economy concept is.
And now I would like to add on top what Shakti said in terms of priority, health, fundamental health and well-being and quality of life will surely be our priority. And next in the list would be sustainable consumption and production patterns that can be seen. And while keeping last but not the least will be our sustainable goals 9 and 17, which would be towards sustainable economic development and global collaboration. So we set a benchmark for other companies. In fact, why just other companies, even our own subsidiaries throughout. And also because our leaders believe a lot in philanthropy, as well as working towards the driving this nation. So humanity comes first. So we'll go with SDG 3 as our prime priority.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would like to add one point from the ethical viewpoint. The most important one would be SDG 3, the well-being one, because the impact which the environmental, the health impact it causes the e-waste, it's mostly hidden and something which needs to be put forward more visibly and treated more visibly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Dave, do you have any questions?
Sure. Could you touch briefly on the financial areas of what you would like us to do? In other words, cost, effect, whatever it might be.
Yes,
Hello, sir. Shakti, I will take this one. So from the finance side, we can say when we are working on this sustainability goals and all the measures which we are taking, then it have a very good impact on the brand image and the brand reputation, which also converts later on to the profit margins. Also, when we are using this recycled materials and making premium products, it improves our profits and the bottom line of the income statement. Also, when we launch and promote as that we are using the recycled material and we are not using or extracting new raw materials from the earth. So we are also creating an awareness in the customer's mind that please come to our brand or come to our industry, because we are not harming the environment. We are instead working on making it better. So when the customer awareness is increased, we help to increase our market share also in that way.
Very good, thank you. I'd like to take a couple of moments on the executive summary. I take it that we are the board of directors of the company. It's a public company founded in 1989. So your comments are addressed to us. However, you have several slides which would indicate that the company does have a program and is working on a program to do specifically what you're asking us to do. So I think it's a matter of what, not to put you on the spot, but let me just give you an idea of my notes and feel free to correct me. You have a sustainable group which is dealing on circular economy, something that was developed in the 1960s. And the 3 points are recognition, applying the concepts, and then lastly, let me get that page out, application of those. And there's one slide in your presentation that talks about the various, our company's components, steel, construction. There's about 5 or 6 companies that are involved in this process. So is there anything else that you think that we could do to enhance our program?
Yes, sir. I would like to take this question. So if any of your team members wanted to add, please. First, let me say we are a company, and I would like to reiterate your question. So basically, we are a company and we wanted to track, or we wanted to add or maybe enhance the company's condition. So is this right, sir? Am I got the question right?
I'm sorry?
No, I'm actually just reiterating the question. So we are basically a steel company and we wanted to increase or maybe enhance the conditions, maybe other than the circular economy. So this is what we are going to say, or can you just repeat the question once?
Well, okay. I think you've presented to us as the board that we do have a program, and you've made suggestions for us really to expand our program to make it kind of what we would call kind of a culture within our company to proceed with these programs. Let's see here. The reason why I asked that question is because your executive summary talks about that we need to do more, and that's why I addressed the question. But you may have answered that in your presentation, so I won't comment further on that. I'm led to believe, though, that you're focusing on the computer aspects of recovery, recycling, or whatever, as opposed to a blanket-wide corporate response. Is that what you're talking about?
Okay, so we got the question. Yes. So basically, our executive summary, when we presented this, we wanted to give world the chance, because when we say waste, e-waste, so people generally think how this can be recycled or how this can be maybe enhanced for again to increase the life of the product. So, but when as a team we worked, yes, it is not only limited to this computer aspects. There are other kinds of e-waste also, maybe because of the activities, maybe there are indirect and unconsciously there are some electronic gadgets or maybe some other kinds of waste which is generated during the activity. So we were trying to insist that so these indirect things should be eliminated. For example, we were discussing the point which is on the lying of some electronic gadgets on the home. So it is lying idle, and yes, people are not even aware of that. And when the COVID struck, people are just randomly ordering. We have seen the kind of the market expansion of this, especially the online ordering segment. So overall, this electronic gadgets and other things, maybe even the refrigerators or the entire things, so it is growing, and we unconsciously adding these e-waste into our life, and people are not even aware of. So this is what we were trying to understand this. And in a way, if we are not aware, even Bharat mentioned what cannot be measured cannot be felt. So this is our challenging thing, and this is what we were been trying to solve this, and finally we got this. So Bharat would like to add here.
Yeah. Besides this, we want to create transparency in terms that we can implement e-waste labeling or maybe introduce various e-waste exchange platforms. But what's that will drive first? A transparent system that is nearly immutable and anyone can track and actually see where what comes from. As Shakti again reiterated that what can be measured can be felt. So we need metrics, we need data, but we need to drive human behavior. We need to play at the levels of psychology, marketing, and tech, and improve in terms of life cycle management and circular economy, which basically says reuse what we have rather than exploiting what we don't need.
Very good. Thank you.
I would like to add one point also here, that when we are talking about implementing technology and improving life cycle, we need to invest in the R&D department also, that how we can improve the design of the product, so that when the product is at the end of the use, it can be easily transformed to another product, and it can be continued like that. So with this way, we can open new markets and new business opportunities for the company when we are working on transforming the products and selling in the new form.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank
I would
you.
like to have the
Right?
final point with this.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So Tata is already doing a lot of things, but like one of the things which is missing from what we have seen in the public eye, the process is not very well aware to the general public, like what does Tata exactly do to treat the e-waste. They say this end to end, what the whole process, how they pick up how they take back the materials, how they recycle them, that could be made much more transparent, and that would massively help Tata with the brand recognition to its customers and the stakeholders, all of them.
All right. Thank you. Trey, do you have a question?
Yeah, I think you were touching upon it on some of the practical applications of some of the solutions that you put in place. And I know, Bharath, you were talking about a few of them. I'd love to hear a little bit more from the team on how we can see some of those practical solutions in place, and maybe some of the examples that you have to share with the board today.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone would like to take this question, or shall I go with it?
Yeah, I guess you can continue. We'll add on to.
Yeah. So yes, sir, there are multiple practical applications, especially if we see the Tata as a company as a whole, they have sustainability aspirations. And one such thing is they have catered these innovations to almost all the people. Even if we say when the internet facility was established in India, so we all know there are 7.4 billion users, internet users in this world. And of course, when we are implementing this internet technology solutions in an emerging country like India, so yes, the solution and the challenging parts are there. And one such thing is when we are doing things at scale, so definitely it needs a lot of capital input and also the resources and the capabilities. When the Reliance, there is one more conglomerate which is present in India. So they also attracted a lot of things which cater to the needs of the underserved segments. So when they are going it for the mass segment, so they consider the strategy for attracting this underserved segment. And when we are doing this services, or maybe when we are trying out to give products to this segment, definitely the innovation part will come into play. And the company, the large conglomerate, they play a wonderful role in implementing these things. And during the course of our MBA, the post-graduation here, we also seen the bottom of pyramid concept. So there are companies which implemented products such as Chotukul, which is like a small refrigerator. And this catered to the needs of the people. So there are companies, they take this as an innovation challenge. Even Tata as a company, they brought this car, the world's cheapest car, which is Tata Nano, which cost less than ₹1 lakh, which converts to maybe a $2,000 car. So when the company is doing a lot of R&D, even as Nishit has mentioned, so the company is putting a lot of money in serving this underserved segments so that they can also fulfill their aspirations. When the company is doing this, they also take into account that so this product will have a life, and definitely this will come back into the world. So how the company can add a value once its life cycle ends there at the customer. So how they can attract customer to bring back those products to the company so that the company maybe can recycle them or they can reuse them. So all these thoughts were come into play, and definitely we cannot do this with a small effort. It needs a huge effort from all the stakeholders, and finally it needs a commitment from all the stakeholders. Then only we can add a possible value here. So I want anyone to add.
I want to add a point. What Shakti is trying to I would like to add to Shakti's point. So India is a country where we'll find a large amount of informal sector. So we have people who collect e-waste, but they don't. It's not treated in the right way. We have kabadiwalas who come to our homes and collect these e-waste. So what Tata Elxsi can do is they can collaborate with this informal sector and implement in such a way that they can the informal sector can be used to collect this waste, and Tata Elxsi can provide the infrastructure to treat this waste, e-waste. Anybody else would like to add on any points?
Yeah, while you guys wonderfully covered most of the points, I would like to say that other use cases that we can look towards is the reverse logistics and maybe asset recovery. When Shakti mentioned during one of his slides that precious metals and rare earth metals like gold, silver, and other things which often get into dump along with electronic waste. Maybe most of us will have secondary handheld devices at our home that we may never use for the rest of our lives, not that we have many left with us, but yes. So such can be recovered at the source itself. And blockchain technology can help us in automated sorting process where we can identify different types of waste, their efficiency, and based on their accuracy. And then materials can be recovered as we previously iterated in terms of metals or maybe other electronic waste instead of having to mine or extract again. And in terms of data management, that's one beautiful part that comes in terms of tracking and managing data related to e-waste, which can help with transparency. Thank you.
I would like to add one point. When we are talking about the real life examples, I can give two examples. Like there are companies like Power Leisure and IBM who are working on developing blockchain technology on how they can track the carbon emissions and the supply chain, and also how they can efficiently exchange the carbon emission credits between the companies in a very legal and informed way. So there are many companies who are working on such technologies and implementation. So soon we can see something in this field.
All right. Thank you so much. I think we are through the formal judging process. We'd love to give you some feedback now, just talking informally with you on the presentation. You did a very good job in presenting in a very informed and in somewhat informal way, which kind of got me to understand the information better. If there is one thing I would, and you had an agenda at the beginning, which is always great when you're presenting to the board. You want to give them a roadmap, but also it would have been really helpful to have the entire package, because you really did hit in on the legal aspect of this endeavor, as well as the ethical and moral, environmental, sustainable aspects. But it would have been just great to kind of hit it where, and this is what's it going to cost us, or this is how much it's going to save us, and that kind of thing. So just make sure you're addressing, especially when you're talking to the board, you're addressing the point as a whole, and at the end of the day they want to know what the cost is going to be or what the profit is going to be. So that's kind of my final comment to the team. Joe, Trey, Dave, any other final comment, informal, to the team?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you know, as I mentioned earlier, my question is, this is a tough topic, right? This is a really challenging problem that's only going to get worse, right? And so congratulations for the effort, innovation, you know, and the solutions that you proposed to kind of go after this. Relative to you know, as a member of the board, I was struggling, and I think David had mentioned the question a bit around, wasn't sure the context of the conversation. I noticed that you announced yourself and introduced yourselves as part of the leadership team, right? And you're not consultants, it appears to me. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just was not clear on who I was listening to. Was it I'm a board director, was I listening to my management team? Or was I listening to consultants helping us to go forward? And so I got the sense that I was listening to the CEO, the chief legal officer, chief technology officer, the executive director, and the chief ethics coordination. So it's chief sustainability officer. So I'm listening, you know, like and it's a different conversation when I'm listening as a board director to consultants. than management, because if management is saying we need to do something, it's a whole different level of accountability around this. So that's just some feedback there. I don't know what it was there. But the other thing that really was under the table of contents, when you were kind of outlining the presentation kind of flow, you talked about the background and the information and then the problem, right? The problem with e-waste. Then you talked about, you know, the need for the solution to be better for the greater good, which was really where the ethics came in. But then I got a little confused when you went to sustainability. Didn't say finance. You didn't say the financial dimensions. You said sustainability and then legal and ethical dimensions. And then I am pretty sure that in our directions, financial is a big part. And without a financial model or performer, we can't make a decision. We can't do anything without that. And so I'm a little stuck. We don't know quite what to do here. And then we sort of ran out of time towards the conclusion, which is the most important part of any presentation, is to close it out strong. And we were kind of rushing it in the end. So I didn't really get your strong, full ask of us in terms of what to do. But those, you know, that's just giving it to you honestly around some of the feedback here. And then I'll go ahead and shut up from here.
Thanks, Joe. Dave, Trey, anything else to add?
Go ahead, Trey, and then I'd have some concluding comments.
Yeah, I would echo a lot of what Joe was saying. Definitely, we want to have the ask, and my understanding was that we were listening to senior management. So, you know, I definitely want to know financial implications and what that ask is. What I will say is the collaboration amongst the team was great. Good introduction, good throughway to each of the segments, and I'd like to highlight the team member that worked on the legal aspect of that, because that was a very clear slide, and I understood what I was being asked or shared with on that. So I definitely want to highlight that level of teamwork there. So I'll lead it over to Dave then.
Okay, I don't mean to beat the subject, but because I did not hear anything specifically related to financial, by asking the question, I was attempting to help you out, that maybe there's some resources that you could pull together and give us a financial review. So sometimes the board of directors, you know, we're seen as bad people, whatever, but we're all part of the same team and we're here to help you. There's one thing that I would do, or I would recommend to the board, and if I understood correctly, there is some law on the books which is dated 1990 or 1991 or 1981. So I think that, you know, as a public corporation, we could meet with our partners or whomever and make attempts to maybe change or update certain laws. I think I would have maybe put that into the legal aspects of, you're asking us to do things, you know, here's an example of what you, the board, could do. I thought the structure of the presentation was good. There were some vocabulary words that Americans normally don't think of in terms of ethics, but internationally, you gave us some new definitions from an Indian culture aspect, which I think are significant in your presentation. It's very important for other nationalities to understand how things work in a particular country, and that's the ethical concerns. So I found that to be very, very enjoyable. I really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for a great effort to the team, to the entire team. We wish you all of the success moving forward, and all the best to you.
One final
Thank you.
comment. I realize we want to get out of here or whatever, but I think it's important to think about the questions that we asked. And as your prior presentation, if there was one, in going forward, have some answers perhaps to some of the questions that we asked. use that as a snowball effect for your future presentations.
Exactly. Great advice. That financial question that Dave gave you early on was a great softball to let the board know, yeah, we looked at the financials, we know how much it's going to cost. Have a snapshot in your head of what that is and tell them the full report will be coming. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you need to be prepared for moving forward. But anyways, we enjoyed the presentation. You guys did a really good job. Thank you so much. Thank you and take care. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
Bye.